Hi, me again. So, by kind of popular demand, I'm surprised with all the feedback I've gotten from everyone. I decided to do another podcast. I had a lot of support. So it's 3 in the morning on a Thursday. I'm here with Noah Mullins. Mullins, how are you doing?
It's good.
Oh.
Obviously, we just woke up. We got up real early for this.
Yeah, fuck no. We absolutely have been up all evening. I wish I was responsible enough to get up at that hour, but. But no, with the overwhelming support, I decided to do another podcast, and it's 3 in the morning, and somehow Noah's down to do it with me. But basically, I mean, Noah, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself and kind of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. So again, I'm Noah. I'm from West Virginia. My mom moved down here when I was 8 years old, and my dad still lives in West Virginia and whatever. And I went to high school there, and I just decided this was a better state for me to be in to better myself as a young adult because West Virginia doesn't have a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, not shit there.
That's for another podcast right
Fair
there.
enough.
I can go deep about it's ridiculous, but I really like it here. There's really good people, including Michael. And so yeah.
Well, so now, I asked you today, you're like, hey, you should do another podcast. I asked you what you wanted to talk about. So what is it we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. So the main thing that's just been on my mind and that, I've dealt with a lot since I've been here in North Carolina is bullshit jobs. And, that's through my predicament. I dropped out of college to work on music initially. And, some things led to another. But, I had to, make some money on the side to fund the dream.
So, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
We know, and most of us have definitely all been there. But so what do you do now? Like,
right
what's
now,
going on in your life?
Right now, I deliver pizzas. So,
Now, how long have you been doing that?
About a year.
Oh shit!
So
Dude.
I'm pretty experienced in the art of slinging zaws.
Oh shit! Apparently, according to Facebook, that's 2 times as dangerous as being a cop. I don't know what metrics they're fucking using, but
Hey, I've been in some shady situations. I've never feared for my life, but if I could see that being true if they incorporate car accidents and stuff.
That's pretty fair. I think at the end of the day, it's all about whatever metrics you want to use.
Exactly.
But so and I agree with you. I've definitely been in some jobs before. Yeah, that's absolutely fucking meaningless. But tell me. First of all, I guess you take it. We're like, man.
Well, I mean, right now, the biggest issue that we deal with is just getting good employees.
No shit.
Because I going into this job, I wasn't sure how I was going to be ranked on the totem pole because something about myself is I'm not a non-productive dude, but I like to smoke a lot of weed. I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty relaxed. I'm
right.
But I work hard when I'm at work. I get my shit done.
Right. And I've definitely been in work environments where it's like, shit, bro, like it doesn't take that much. Like you can't fuck this up that hard.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a pretty minimalistic job. Like literally all I do when I'm not delivering pizzas is like chopping up veggies or cheese and doing dishes. Like it doesn't take a lot of fucking capacity.
Dude,
I just want to zone out and listen to tunes and fucking get through my day without fucking blowing up on some of the derelicts.
Well, it's probably a great job to smoke weed at. But like,
Exactly.
so tell me about some of your coworkers. Like any stories in particular? Like
I could go on and on, man. So the dude that trained me, he was a 50-year-old dude that had been working at Randy's for 20 years. He'd pretty much only been a pizza delivery driver his entire life. He was a piece of shit.
I bet.
Like he's a scumbag. He literally only wanted to fuck over the other drivers, and he trained me how to do shit wrong to make me look bad. He would take deliveries that were supposed to be mine and fuck me out of getting money. And
how old was this guy again?
He was pushing 50. He was probably about in his early 50s, if I had to guess. Yeah, a piece of shit.
Right, and this isn't a forever job. It's a stepping stone.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
And for him, it was a forever job.
And we would definitely all been there.
Yeah.
So, but you mentioned earlier like the entire thing where like there's also these other jobs though, where it's just like filling up fucking time. Like so with all that downtime, like what does that even look like at a pizza shop?
It is so ridiculous how much downtime I have on especially now that COVID hit.
Right.
Yeah, I spend an average of 2, sometimes 3 hours a day, depending on how busy we are. Just fucking looking at my phone, smoking weed in my car.
Oh man,
like
I do. I'll tell you, I worked in corporate office
Yeah.
environment, sales jobs, and like the amount of time people spend on their phones, ridiculous.
But
Like,
again, this is after I get all my shit done. I don't let shit pile up
Right.
while I'm doing this shit and bullshitting. This is like after I've done all my prep in the morning.
Right.
There's no dishes to do. There's literally nothing else for me to do. I've scrubbed the floors. They're like, I keep shit cleaner than most of the other. See, this is what pisses me off so much is because I'm able to get shit done so fast usually.
right.
And it's not that hard, and I still have so much downtime, and the other workers just like don't understand that it's that easy, and they let shit pile up,
Right.
and they don't even like smoke a lot of weed, or
Yeah,
like they don't
it's
even
terrible.
have an excuse like I would have. Like it's ridiculous. Like they look at.
You do, so it's pretty fucked up. So like one thing I used to tell people, right? Because you come into a new job and you're like, I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna do everything as hard as I can, give it 100%.
Which I was raised to do.
Right, which is great, and it's very respectable. It's a good quality attribute. But actually, one thing I heard, and this is a weird way to look at it, but when you go into a new job, go in at a subpar level, right?
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's going to be easier to show progress and growth, right?
Exactly.
And you know what managers love to see? They love to see progress and growth,
Yeah.
And so, plus, it just kind of makes your life easier. You look better. You make them feel better, which is the biggest fucking thing. And, talking about managers and bosses, that's going to be a whole nother bit. But, like all the fucking downtime, like, it's pretty much demotivating, like
it really is.
and along with like all that like toxic positivity, it's like, all right, come on guys, let's go fuck, and it's like, God, like, come on, we're delivering pizzas, like, chill out. Like in sales background, you don't even want to know like the cult type of shit they're dealing with.
And I've worked sales type jobs. I used to be a service industry driver for I won't name the company, but it was a uniform company, and I would go to different companies and change out their uniforms to rentals.
Right?
Or no, I would. This job I didn't smoke weed for because I was driving a big ass box truck.
Oh no shit.
It was pretty. I took this job very seriously. I was pushing 70 hours a week. I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was very intense. And,
right. Well, especially with like all the liability with those types of things.
Exactly.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be driving around
for
that
sure.
truck,
Because I think like if you if an accident does happen, you're like you basically getting drug tested. I think.
Exactly. But I was the dude that would come to your restaurant, take your dirty bar towels and aprons and shit, give you guys new ones and all that stuff. But
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if you had an answer right away, but like, what's the craziest shit as a pizza delivery driver you've ever had to deal with?
I've got an answer like right away. Okay, so I mean, for those of you that are familiar, my pizza. I'm not going to name my pizza restaurant, but
that's respectable. Yeah,
we have. They have locations in various cities throughout Raleigh, Durham, Cary, and whatever, as do many. And, I mainly work in the Cary, Durham area, but I don't work at the store anymore, but it was in the further, deeper Durham area.
Oh, of course.
And for those of you that know Durham, North Carolina, it can get a little sketchy.
Yeah.
And, it was to one of the more project housing areas. And, I knock on the door. Dude answers it. He's like, all right, the dude that orders it is in the back, in his room. You got to come in and go give it to him. It was a cash order, so I still had to get the money from him. It wasn't paid for yet. So I had to go in. The dude sits back down on the couch, lights up some crack, starts smoking crack immediately as I walk in the door.
Oh,
I'm like,
beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
Just casually smoking crack. Oh, thanks. The pizza's here.
Yeah, and
I lost my appetite.
I'm walking through the small little apartment thing. And, there's a kitchen table and just similar size as this one.
Pull the mic up. Make sure you pull it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Similar size as this one and just covered in pill bottles.
Oh, beautiful.
The entire table.
Classy.
So, yeah, I go into this dude's room and it's like, it's like an episode of Hoarders, shit everywhere. And, he's an older gentleman. And he's getting up and he's like, oh, my food's here. Let me find my wallet. And he's looking for his wallet. He's getting up really slow. He's moving like a fucking turtle. And as he's getting up, his pants fall down. He's not wearing
Man.
underwear. I'm looking at his whole shit. You know, his ass, his balls. It's not pleasant.
Man, think about that the next time you order fucking pizza.
Yeah.
Those are the real heroes.
Yeah,
like,
tip your fucking pizza drivers. God damn it.
Don't
Yeah.
back the fucking pizza
Yeah,
driver.
this dude actually did tip. He's
Oh,
better.
wow.
He's better than some of you fucking pieces of shit that actually don't tip me. Like,
Man.
believe it or not.
That's
So,
hysterical.
anyways, yeah, he can't find
Least-
his wallet.
least-
He's moving around super slow, and then I'm
Man.
looking around the room and I realize it's on his bed. I was like, dude, I think your wallet's right there. He's like, oh yeah, thank you. And then he turns around, and then I realize he only has one eye.
Wow.
Yeah, no
So
fucking eye patch or anything.
The one-eyed crack smoking.
This dude, I
person.
wasn't sure. He wasn't smoking crack at the moment. So I mean, who's to say?
But this
I mean,
guy
if I
fucking
were
tipped.
to
Who
take,
cares? Like,
yeah, he still tipped me like $2 or $3.
Oh.
Yeah, and he paid in cash, and he's like, hey, you had a better eye than I did. I was
Jeez.
like, motherfucker.
well, so kind of going back to talking about works, right? You know, we're talking about motivation. You know, so talk to me about efficiency. Like, 'cause I
yeah.
man, like I feel like we've all worked jobs where it's just like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
I would care if like anybody else cared. We have 1,000 different ways. Yeah, so tell me about that.
I mean, this ties back more to my job working in the service industry, driving the truck. But it just seemed like there was always some underlying issue that everybody knew could have been solved by just some slightly better technology or
easily.
something like that, and it would have saved so much time and training and money overall. But nothing ever got done about
Right.
it.
We just talk about it. We have 12 unnecessary meetings.
And the people and the meetings aren't even necessarily to cover that up because the business doesn't want to fix those problems because it's like cost efficient. It's like a Band-Aid fix.
I feel like my experience at work is that basically we just want to have meetings to talk about problems, right? All the time people bring problems, but sometimes people don't bring solutions.
I'll tell you, every meeting that I've had to go into for work that wasn't part of my scheduled work day could have been covered in an email.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no.
Literally everyone.
corporate sales jobs. Yeah, 100%.
You're the most bullshit one that I went to. We were called in for a nonchalant meeting. We were told it was going to be nothing much. It was for my older job, the more serious one.
Right.
And this was when I'd worked there for. Anyways, they had us after they had talked to us for about an hour on a Saturday morning after we had already worked probably 70-hour weeks. We're all fucking tired.
Right.
We want to enjoy our weekends.
Of course.
They had us go outside with spray paint cans and fucking spray dents out in our trucks
Jeez.
and maintenance our fucking trucks.
Right, of course. Of all times. You could have
Which
done that
they
any other
should have
time.
Fucking hired somebody else to do.
Clearly.
And dude, I wore nicer clothes to this meeting.
Right.
I wore a polo. I wore my
Man.
nice Levi jeans. I got fucking paint on my nice Levi jeans.
Jeez. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to do this today.
Yeah, I was gonna
the
say
hell.
I wasn't expecting to do work during our
man. Curveball.
Yeah, dude. So I mean,
So how about bosses? Tell me about some of your bosses. Who was the worst boss you had, or just
I've been blessed with very good bosses. I've never really gotten in conflicts with any of them. Because I consider myself a hard worker.
Right.
I've never given my
rare
bosses
quality nowadays.
I've never given my bosses a reason to have a conflict with me. But I will say the most incompetent boss is the one I work for right now.
Oh, of course.
Sorry if you're watching.
Right. Well, ironically enough, for me, I feel like I had a string of bad bosses and managers, and of course, the saving grace, the last one I ever found, the one that actually seemed like he gave a shit. Of course, coronavirus comes in and just wipes it all out.
And I want to clarify, if you do end up seeing this, I apologize. I really do. And you do work very hard, and I do respect you. But I don't think a manager position is right for you. Because
of course,
this dude just he is terrible with confrontation. He will not deal with.
Yep.
He will not if somebody is fucking up, he will not tell them.
Right.
He will wait until it's such a big of an issue.
All that underlying tension.
It is so fucking ridiculous how hard it is to get fired from the job I work for. Dude,
Man.
I can walk in reeking from weed, and I guarantee this dude will not say anything because he knows he can't lose me because I'm one of the best workers. But this one new guy we just got,
right?
He will straight up refuse to do shit. That's just part of his job.
Wow.
He opened a morning we were supposed to do prep, shred cheese and sausage. They asked him to, hey, can you shred the sausage? He just put in his headphones, started watching his iPad, like TV and acted like he didn't hear them.
Wow.
And they had to do it for them.
That's ridiculous.
And he still works for us.
That's so silver lining, job security in that regard. Like, damn.
Yeah, if you really need a job and you're like a borderline felon and you don't want to get fired from someplace, like, you know, email Michael and I can probably hook you up with a pretty solid job.
So if you want to deliver pizzas, shoot me a message.
It's actually pretty solid. I probably make more money than any other delivery food. Maybe unless you're doing like Postmates on the side or something like that. It's a pretty solid gig.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man. So I guess, you know, the next thing I guess we want to talk about, you know, you fucking terrible bosses. All right, shit. What do you want to talk about? What else? This is about you.
Man. That's a good question. I guess a good question is like how to keep your fucking sanity when you're working in such a goddamn insane environment.
Yeah, and drugs are illegal. Like,
yeah, exactly. You know, weed helps you.
You're gonna like enslave us this 8 to 5. You might as well give us some perks.
You know, marijuana.
Oh, of course.
Fucking is I think the best thing. You know. For me, at least.
What about coworkers? Craziest coworker? Any crazy coworker stories?
The first dude that I talked about, that 50-year-old, that dude was fucking crazy.
Does he top it?
He was one. I mean, like, dude, they all have their own traits. Like, there was this one dude that I actually really liked. He was a pothead. He was a bit of a nerd. He was into like robots and shit like that. But he ended up sneaking into our place and stealing $3,000 out of our safe. You know,
wow.
I mean, like, you know.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, and like, yeah dude, it's just like. You see a lot. You see a lot of characters come through the pizza delivery.
So how about? I mean, I don't know what the fertile grounds look like this in that workplace, but how about work relationships, right? Any of those? Any hot girls at the fucking pizza grid?
I don't work with any hot girls, but sorry if you. There is one girl that is attractive. She is pretty, but I personally don't find her hot. But anyways, but I mean, you know, it's just like any other restaurant, man. I've always considered the restaurant industry or even the retail industry a bit like high school. There's drama, there's cliques, you know, people buddy up,
right?
People
of course.
don't like each
definitely.
other. It's the same as anywhere, man. There are certain days where I'm scheduled with people and we flow super great together. The work day is great. We're fucking joking around, and you know, it's a great day. But there are certain days where like certain assholes are scheduled together that don't like each other. Right. They get in bad moods and they fucking throw off the whole flow for everything else.
Well, tell me about your work culture. Yeah, that's a word I'd love to hear.
Yeah,
all the places I've ever worked.
I feel like I fit it pretty well. Like, you know, I smoke a lot of weed. You know, I like to skateboard, make music. You know, I play bass and shit like that. You know, I it's more of a side gig for me. You know, it puts money in my pocket so I can.
Well, and I relay this because, you know, I've worked in corporate sales job, like companies, 200, 500 people. And, you know, my perspective is like this, just, it's culture. We're a happy place. And it's it's just the most fake fucking.
For my previous job, the one where the one I had before this, it was definitely like that. You know, we had to watch videos about why workers unions were bad and they're the devil.
And for us, we had like a lot of that toxic positivity, like, you know, almost like, you know, you've got to be like a fucking psychopath.
I worked in the warehouse before I started driving the truck there, and you have to. I mean, they honestly you kind of need that motivation to get through that fucking day.
Fair enough.
When I was working in that warehouse, I had one position that I worked for, you know, several weeks. It was never a couple weeks at a time, but it would be like a week straight where I'd have to do this. You would stand at a machine, and there would be a big basket that would be lifted up to you, and it had floor mats that you'd see when you walk into a gas station or a McDonald's or anything like that, and they had just come out of the washer and dryer,
right?
And you'd have to pull them out of the basket, lay them flat in this machine, and you'd step on a pedal, and it would roll the mat into a perfect roll, and you'd put it in the basket. That's your job all day, man, for 12 hours.
Jeez,
yeah.
You better give that guy an Adderall prescription. Shit,
it's fucking ridiculous.
All right, so I forget how old you are. How
20,
old are you? You're
23.
23. Okay, gotcha. So, did you ever see the movie Office Space?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, I think that's probably one of the most accurate depictions of the modern day. Mike Judge was like ahead of his time for that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Came out in like I think 97. I want to say.
And I saw that movie before I entered the workforce, you know, because my parents. Are with it. So,
and there's totally different seeing before and after.
Exactly, but after rewatching it, I actually watched it the other day.
No shit. Beautiful.
With our buddy Gavin. And man, did I not just like feel like so I related so fucking hard
Right.
through every job I've had. You know, I've worked retail, I worked a couple restaurant jobs, and then I worked in the warehouse, and then worked my way up to driving the truck. And yeah, I felt that in every single one of those jobs.
Yeah,
100%.
I believe it. It's literally the most accurate depiction. And but it might be different. You know, like I said, coming from a sales environment, you know, the top performers, right? When you have a bunch of different people, I don't know what that's looked like in your roles, but it always seems like the top performers are just either just crazy or just so far out there. Like,
to be honest. You've worked in a little bit more of professional settings than I have.
Offices, you know,
exactly,
doing sales.
Yeah. See,
so,
I've been in more positions that attract the derelicts and degenerates. So, hard work actually does stand out in the positions that I've always worked. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, you know, it's not hard. It's really not fucking hard to stand out amongst some of the fucking people I work with. I'm sorry if you're one of the people I work with, but you get your shit together.
And so in contrast, you know, the sales job is very different because every second counts, and like you go bad shit crazy for every second that's wasted because like, you know, you're making, you know, it's kind of the opposite in some senses where you literally, it's like you make this happen or not.
See, you know what the difference in the positions I've worked is I know I can finish the work I have in way quicker amount of time than is required. So I'm forced to make up time because if I do finish it early, they're just going to give me way more bullshit that I'm not even paid to do, that nobody else has to fucking do. Just because I work faster than other people, I end up having to do more work.
You might as well just coast.
What type of motivation is that?
Right.
Why should I get motivated to do that? Why should I be motivated to do more work when I'm just going to have to do way more and get paid the exact same?
Hey, good job. Like, now that you're done, do this. And
that's honestly like why I kind of like delivering, because like if I'm on my shit and I'm really paying attention, I can like sweep up more deliveries than the other drivers and end up making more money in the
Absolutely. And these personalities, like, they already probably give a shit less.
Exactly.
You know, like, which is crazy. You're literally going to work to make money.
The dude I worked with tonight, like, he's a cool guy. I actually really like talking to him. He's a terrible worker. He's super lazy.
Right.
He comes in super higher than me, which I didn't even know was possible. And like, but like the whole time, like, he's like, yeah, you can just take those deliveries. Yeah, you can have those two together.
Right. Or even back when I waited tables, you know, like, just, you know, well, fuck, I'd be fighting tooth and nail. We came in at
the same time. By the end of the night, I had taken over twice as many deliveries by then. And I made over twice as much money. And I worked fucking 2 or 3 times as hard as he did.
Right. And, you know, the thing with sales jobs is just, man, like, every second is going towards a call and email. Like, you are your own anchor and things like that. Yeah. And it kind of sucks because, you know, I guess to really excel sometimes you have to work overtime to make it happen.
Exactly. And I don't want the people to think that I'm trying to be the best fucking delivery driver in the world, because that's a pretty pathetic title if you ask me. Not that it's not a necessary position to have, and I respect those people that do it. And, you know, it was a necessary part in my life, but, you know, I eventually want to work past it, obviously.
100%.
Yeah.
So, and I see that. So now let's get a little heavier here. You know, automation. You know, what do you think about automation right now? What does that mean to you in today's age?
I think it can be great, and you know, eventually, you know, it's going to be very life-changing for people. It's going to make people wake up.
Right.
But there is definitely, you know, referring back to my old truck driving job, it would have fucking helped a lot if we had more automation. Referring back to the efficiency thing,
right?
Because, you know, one of the whole systems we had, you know, I had my route for the day. I had to stop by a bunch of different locations, whether it was restaurants, construction sites, you name it, you know, tons of different shit. I used to fucking service the Rolls Royce industry. I was seeing nice cars. Man, it was nice. But anyways, like, so our whole route was laid out, and we had our with the sheets that everybody had to sign to confirm the payments, the
invoices,
invoices. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, but they were all paper. And like they were all like accordion stacked in like shitty paper that was like bifolded, so it wrote through, and you'd give the other side to the customer, and it would have just been like, and you had to. That's how you would file for any like size change. If like one of the employees needed like a different sized uniform, you'd have to fill it out on paper. It was super inefficient. It took so much time. You had to sit down at the end of the day, or you do it throughout the day.
Right,
and it take hours.
And I guess to retract this, I guess, you know, to bring this back to our conversation, you know, bring up automation more in terms of, you know, I feel like.
But if we just had an iPad. with all our invoices on it that someone could you just click a few buttons.
Oh.
And do all, it would save so much time, and at the end of the day, you'd be saving so much money.
No,
And
100%.
the amount of money you spend on those like what $80 iPads that they would buy, like they buy the cheaper ones, that would still get the job done.
And of course, these companies take forever sometimes to even fucking make upgrades like that in the first place. But you know, we had tie back automation, or kind of what I was shooting for is like, you know, how all these bullshit jobs are getting created as a byproduct of it. Right, like, you know, we're automating things left and right, and we're getting to a point where like, how many other jobs are we gonna automate?
I've seen like some like crazy jobs that no human would want to do that you would think a machine would do. Like back at that same job,
right?
Because like one of the main things that would come in that we did, it was like we were a rental service basically. So we'd rent out bar towels and aprons to restaurants, and they would put them in a basket, and we take those back. We don't throw those away. They go through a wash cycle, but. And our in the location that I worked at, when I worked at the plant, we had one dude that would literally count the dirty bar towels. And I'm not joking, when these dirty they're dirtier than dirty bar towels, man. They have maggots crawling through them. They're the most foul stench like you could imagine. And he has to sit there and count them one by one.
Man, why?
All day. That's his only fucking job. How does, like, if I was that dude, like, I mean, like, I don't know how I would not like
those are the serial killers of the world.
Exactly, dude.
40 hours counting.
But you don't think there's a fucking machine that can like separate?
Absolutely.
You know,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping, I guess.
But you're gonna ruin that dude's life by making his day-to-day shit so monotonous. He's got to like work with this. Just nothing about his job could be enjoyable.
Right.
Literally not one thing.
Right. Well, and I feel like as a society, we've gotten to a point, though, where like automating things left and right. I mean, I feel like we can get to a point where it's like not realistic to expect everyone to work anymore almost. You know, not because people are lazy, but because the technology is automating nearly everything.
We're not totally to that point yet.
Not yet, but step by step.
When we start seeing, you know, self-driving cars, that's when it's going to get a little scary.
Absolutely. And I've got a whole thing I'd go on about that. But like, actually, no, self-driving cars, let's talk about that, right? So... You know, and I've looked this up before. So 10% of all jobs in the United States, for example, are all based on driving, right?
Yeah.
Driving. And now let's say, you know, a computer takes over, and next thing, you know, AI is driving these robots, and it's like a million times safer. Let's say like it, you know, reduces wrecks by 99%. Like whatever, you know, sure, there's going to be room for error in technology, but we're going to agree that it's going to be fuck ton safer.
Exactly. Because driving is dangerous as fuck.
Oh, exactly. Well, so now next, okay, you no longer do you need cops for speeding tickets. You know, no longer are there going to be DUIs.
Exactly.
No longer are you going to need as many nurses. You know,
it's just going to be a bunch of factory line jobs. People sitting on factory lines putting together these robots that automate our lives.
Pretty much tip by tip. But like,
that's
you know,
besides, you know, our plumbers and welders and electricians.
Of course, the things that we actually
need. I think when that happens, those trades are going to fucking 100%. Explode. Yeah.
So, and that's always something to definitely fall back on. But like 10%, like the bigger thing I think about too is like the economic impact. Like, you know, it's 10% of all jobs wiped out of the economy.
There's going to be a curve of like, you know, people that are not going to want to like, you know, I want to fucking drive my truck. This is what I do. I'm a truck driver. But like, you know, you might have to
not anymore. Sorry.
You might have to learn how to sit on a assembly line and put together that computer that drives that truck now.
Pretty much.
It's fucked up, and that sounds, and you know, that sounds a lot more heart sucking. But like, hey, it's on those jobs to accommodate, like make that a fun experience. Put on some fucking kicking tunes, like get those workers psyched about putting together those parts. You can get workers psyched about like something like that if you make them realize that they're doing an essential part of whatever it is that's going on.
So let's go play the other side. So have you heard much about universal basic income?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, gotcha. So, you know, what if we thought with all these bullshit jobs, right? Like, what if they didn't exist, right? And like, what do you think people would do with all that extra time? Like, do you think people could handle it? I mean, you know, part of me feels like we've sometimes got to keep people occupied.
I agree. I totally agree. But I do think that, you know, I think like the Europeans kind of got it with the scheduled vacation time, like how they have like because like you need mental health days. Like, I didn't really realize that till of recently. Like I thought I was pretty straight, but there's days like I've gone in and it's just like fuck. Like I need to like be at home and just like, you know, think about some shit. I can't like, you know, and yeah.
We definitely been there, but so like, tell me about taking the days off. Do you ever get a bunch of shit for that? Like,
I very rarely take days off.
That's good.
Yeah, no, I'll go to work so hungover, or like even after pulling all nighters. I've gone to work on acid before.
Oh man, it's
after being up all night, man.
If you haven't done drugs at work, like, who the fuck are you anyways?
Exactly,
like,
dude. But like I'll go to work.
Right.
I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I very rarely call out. I got to be pretty sick. Well, I mean, I don't get sick very often,
Right.
but like at the restaurant industry, like I would definitely be more careful.
Oh, of course, the restaurant industry is the worst.
I mean, well, what I'm saying is,
Right.
like, if I felt sick, I would be more likely to call out because I don't want to get a bunch of other people sick
Right.
that I'm like giving food to.
Well, you'd think restaurants would be like that, but having worked in restaurants in the past, they're the worst about it.
Everybody
Yeah.
goes to work sick.
Well,
the few times I've gotten sick have been through my employees coming to work
joy.
sick in the past year.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, and well, I ask because, like, my jobs in the past, I feel like I'm a fucking villain, like, trying to ask for a day off. Like, I feel like I'm Oliver Twist, like,
I get that 100%. But
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where, I bust my ass, like, so much more than most of the other workers. I don't even feel bad about it anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's
I lay it down.
right.
Yeah.
No, beautiful. So, fucking, man, I mean,
man, I think this has been really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much time
I have no idea. Like, I mean,
this
if
feels like
you had to take a guess,
I feel like it's been about a solid 30 minutes. I mean, we can just talk about our day if you want for a little bit.
I don't know. Let's be real. Like, let's go smoke a cigarette.
All right, let's do it. Hey guys, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, of course. No, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I really hope to be on again. Like, this is the first time for me ever being on a podcast. So bear with me.
This is the first time. Actually, this is the first time I've ever interviewed anyone. So
fuck yeah.
and actually, Noah's been a huge support. A lot of feedback from him. He was literally over chilling at like 1:30 in the morning, and basically I was like, hey, help me set this up. And next thing you know, we're doing a fucking podcast.
Yeah,
so that's why he's here.
And Michael has been like one of the best role models for me. Like him, being a couple of years older, he's been around the block a couple more times than I have. And he's
fucked up a lot,
and I have too. But he's helping me not fuck up so much.
I got you. Excellent. Well, maybe till next time.